It's time for the MoonShot Money Weekly Roundup, where Chase, Isaac, and Mike recap the investing week.
Good Friday, everyone, and welcome to the MoonShot Money Weekly Roundup. Along with Chase and Isaac Vickers, I'm Mike Vickers. We're glad to have you along with us and hope you've had a really great week. It's Friday, February the 11th, 2022, and we're back with episode number 6. Let's quickly, Chase, take a look back at the highlights of this past week. The Consumer Price Index report came out yesterday morning, and it was worse than expected. Now, what does that mean? Inflation was higher in January than it was in December, and even higher than anyone expected, 7.5% on a yearly basis. So that means we've said this over and over on this Roundup, but energy's up, gas is up, food's up, new cars are up, used cars and trucks are up, you name it, it's all up. Turn on the XL Keystone Pipeline yesterday. Disney parks, their business roared back. They gave their earnings this week as the House of Mouse beats earnings expectations. Plus, you remember when Netflix reported everything was kind of on a negative side, but Disney added 12 million subscribers to Disney Plus, their streaming service, and so their stock price took off. I believe that was Wednesday. Bitcoin and Ethereum, cryptos are on the rise again. I read an article, it looks like Apple is seriously getting more involved in the metaverse, which is pretty cool from their perspective. The Winter Olympics are going on. NBC is on track, think about this, for the lowest rated Winter Olympics in American TV history.
Goodness.
Yeah, something maybe to do with where it's happening at. But it's been up and it's been down all week long, just up and down overall. But my portfolio is up again for the second week in a row, Chase.
Hey.
Second week in a row. I'm pretty happy. Big time. So let's kind of talk about some of this. We're going to talk about did we sell anything this week and some of the things that we bought. So Chase, having said all that, what are your thoughts? What's going on?
Yeah, well, first of all, I hope everyone had a great week. I know I did. Little greener in the portfolio this week.
Yep.
Little exciting to see. To be honest with you, I had a pretty quiet week. I was just enjoying some days that seemed a little calmer and seeing some green on the screen. Yeah. It was always encouraging. But the only thing I bought this week, I did buy more Palantir, and I continue to buy Ethereum. So that was my purchases. Speaking of the Olympics, I haven't watched one bit of it. I don't know if it's where it's being filmed or played or whatever you want to call it, being held. But I've not been into it either, so it's kind of interesting. Yeah, and
I think that you buying Palantir, it's been on the rise this week, hasn't it?
It has.
It's been on the rise, and I think that's some good signs headed into earnings. Hey, Isaac's not with us today, right? He's not with us because he had to go to the dentist. His tooth started hurting, and he was going to buy some Google, fractionally to capture some of the split, but he went to the dentist and called me and told me about his bill. And so rather than buying Google, I think he paid the dentist's mortgage payment and maybe sent him and his wife to Ruth Chris Steakhouse. So that's what Isaac's doing this week. But
maybe he shouldn't buy so much pizza.
Yeah. So anyway, so for me this week, I had a gut feeling about Disney heading into their earnings. I was just thinking about the fourth quarter of 2022 compared to the fourth quarter of 2021 when the pandemic was still going on pretty strong. And I just had a good feeling about it. So I've been buying into earnings. One of the reasons because Disney was down over 20% in the last 12 months. It's just a powerhouse, right, with all that they do. And I felt like earnings would beat, and that proved to be right. And it was a good thought process because we have done pretty well on that this week. I also started buying a few shares of Apple again based on their hints about the metaverse that I think everyone knows that Apple will be involved, but I read some articles this week that hinted to the fact that they may be an even bigger player than what we anticipate. And also, really, when you compare the valuation of Apple this year versus last year, it actually is a little better. So I thought, maybe time to buy a few shares of that. I bought some more J.P. Morgan Chase because the interest rates are getting ready to go up, which means more profit for the banks. I bought a piece of Google. I didn't buy a whole share of Google. Bought a piece, some more QYLD, and also because of the fuel prices, I continued to buy some Exxon. Now, Chase, I did have a couple of new purchases this week. A couple of things that I have owned one of these in the past, but it's been a while. I bought Viacom CBS, believe it or not. Yeah, because it has a really decent valuation. It's like 6.74 price to earnings ratio right now. Pretty good price on that. It has a 2.85% dividend. And, you never know, right? You never know. But I was just thinking that Disney and Netflix, man, they're competing for content. And so is it possible, that CBS, like ESPN was for Disney, maybe a target? So who knows? But and so the other thing that I bought this week is Capri Holdings. Now, earlier last week, CNBC mentioned Capri Holdings as a buy, and I thought, that's interesting. Started doing a little bit of research, and then at the beginning of this week on Fox Business, Charles Payne also mentioned Capri Holdings and went as far as to say that he was buying it. Wow. And so I got interested and I looked a little deeper. So for those of you that may or may not know, Capri owns some incredible upscale brands like Michael Kors, Versace, and Jimmy Choo. And those are things that I don't personally buy. Our family don't buy things like that. But when they reported their earnings, they hammered all expectations. And believe it or not, all three of those brands experienced growth. Get this. Capri said that they had raised the prices of some of these high-end luxury items, and the sales went up. They were unaffected by higher prices, and believe it or not, they say they're looking to increase the prices some more. But Chase, we're talking about $8,000 pocketbooks.
That's insane.
It's really interesting. But the higher they raise the price, the more people seem to be interested. So, as far as I'm concerned, I'll be happy to take a small piece of that money by being a Capri Holdings stock owner. Sure. And so in a week, I'm up 8%. So that's not too bad.
Yeah, nice.
Right? Not too bad. We'll see what happens. I'll keep my eye on it. So, Chase, I guess we're getting close to winding this up. Anything else?
Yeah, I mean, just, we're dealing with supply chain issues.
Oh, yeah.
Here in our country. It's just crazy times. Yesterday went to Home Depot, was having to buy a refrigerator for one of our rental properties. And they had 2 refrigerators in the store.
Are you kidding?
So I mean, obviously, I bought one of those and began to think about needing to search the Home Depots and Lowe's, trying to buy good price refrigerators when we can for rental properties. I know I ain't the only person thinking that way. So it's just, we're in a crunch all across the board with supply chain issues. So crazy times there, hoping to work through all that before long. Can't go wrong buying Apple. I love that you did that. I'm keeping an eye on Apple on any dips. Want to add to my holding, and then watching Tesla closely. Anything under 900, I love. And if it were to get lower than that, I would certainly be looking to buy again. So it's kind of what my thoughts are for the week.
All right, pretty cool. And speaking of the supply chain crunch, it's really just talking points until you can't find something that you really need.
Yeah,
and that's when it kind of gets scary. So when you think about going to Home Depot and they have 2 refrigerators in the whole entire place, that's crazy. So I just hope that things don't get any worse, because it would really be bad to start not being able to get things that we really need. So, okay, our Your mind clear, Chase?
I'm good.
All right. So on our way out the door, let me thank you for being with us today. Thanks for all the interaction from all of you. Just hit that like button and subscribe if you don't mind so you never miss an episode. And if you leave us a comment, one of us will get back in touch with you. So have a great, great weekend, everybody.